Coach, the early penalty and then the early power play goal against. Why do you think that things kind of went the way that they did tonight?
I didn't hear your question, Dave.
The early penalty and then the early power play goal against. Why do you think that the game kind of went the way that it did tonight?
I don't. You're asking me two questions about. You're asking about the power play they scored on.
They got the early power play goal, so
Yeah.
why do you think that?
I don't think that had any impact on the rest of the game. They got a power play goal, then we got a goal to make it 1-1. I think the big difference in the game was the game turned for me. There were two situations, one of which is they scored the deflection goal, the Kopitar. We were late for arrival. A defenseman was in a battle, and he seemed to have been slashed, and he lost his stick. So there was chaos underneath the puck. And that goes in, and then, I mean, I liked the way we played for 30, whatever it was, 32 minutes. Like, it was an up and down game. We had a shot advantage. We controlled the play. And then the high sticking call that we challenged, put more momentum into them, and it created a bigger deficit for us.
What did the referees tell you on the explanation of the challenge?
They didn't tell me anything. Like, I asked them to ask, like, call them over, and they didn't come over, and I think I asked one of them, like, obviously the league called that, and he wasn't going to give me an explanation. I saw what everybody else saw. I looked at the monitor. It was not even we didn't hesitate 1 second. Austin was radioed in, and Austin saw the same thing that we saw from the monitor, and everybody on the ice saw the same thing. And I don't know what the league looks at. I can't speak for what they're reviewing, but from what I saw, it was a clear high stick. I mean, we had one at home. Remember, I don't know, a few games back, and I thought the one here was higher than the one at home. That's why we didn't hesitate.
Third game in a row, facing 6 penalty kills. Last game, you said it sort of ruined the rhythm of the game. It was hard to get into. Is that a similar thing here with power plays going back and forth?
Yes, like yes, like I'm not gonna revisit every power play or every penalty we took, but yeah, there's guys sitting there forever on the bench. And the worst thing is it's 2 nights in a row. So the poor guys that are killing penalties are on the ice for a long time, and the guys that aren't killing penalties are sitting there, and your chemistry gets all fumbled, and yeah, it does play a big role.
With the 3 power play goals against, what do you think led to the short-handed struggles or the penalty killing struggles tonight?
I don't know. Like, I can't go through them all. I know, I can't go through them all. I mean, I know 2 of them were just, the first one obviously is a set play where they hit the guy in the middle of our box, and then the other 2 I think went through Dosty. They were one-timers. I thought the other kills were good. They didn't get much out of them, but they had shots, and the one thing that they've been struggling on their power play all year, and the one thing they clearly want to do is shoot the puck, and they shot it. They took one-timers, and they got them down there, and they try to get some rebounds. So that's a recipe for changing your power play.
When Pat talked about the need for you guys to play sort of playoff quality games this time of year, and you're playing Calgary twice and Edmonton and the Kings, these are kind of important games for you guys maybe to get their feet wet a little bit, and you haven't played these kind of games in the last few years.
No, and I told them that, it was a good question. I said that in between the second and third period, even though it was 4-1. I said, guys, these are the games we've got to get comfortable playing in. You can measure yourself, you compete level, your decisions with the puck, and all those things that I think part of a playoff environment. Clearly, when you win one-on-one battles on the walls and you get to the front of the other team's net, you're putting yourself in a good position to be in the offensive side of the puck, and I thought the Kings did a really good job of that the last 25 minutes.
I think you guys got like 12 more wins and 20 more points than you had last year. Do you feel like you turned a corner a little bit, given the way the team has struggled the last few seasons?
Yeah, and I say this all the time. There's 2 seasons in the NHL. There's a pre-trade deadline season. There's a post-trade deadline season, right? So some of the teams are arming themselves for a playoff run, and the other teams are trying to create that identity that they might have built before that. And we're the latter. We're trying to build on an identity that I thought we're in a playoff race all the way through the trade deadline. I think at one point we were 5 points back, and that's where we wanted to be if we're talking in the summertime. And win, lose, or draw, it's critical that these young kids, we've got, tonight we had 11 kids that are, born in 2020 or 2000 and younger, and they're in these games. And it's a different game. It's a different pace, it's a different intensity to it, it's a different battle level to it. So it's critical that they go through these type of games. It's going to help them in the long run.
Cutter gets another goal tonight. That's 5 in the last 3 games. We've talked about him a lot, but it feels like he's really blossoming into that true complement next to Leo.
Yeah, again, you saw his biggest gift is his shot, and that release he scored on that goal was terrific. And again, he's a guy that he's in and out of the penalty killing, and he's sitting there for a while. So I think that line got caught up in a little bit of the special teams thing, but I thought Cutter skated well again.